It is Monday, May 19th, 2025, and this is the latest breaking news for Medellin and a few other stories from Central and Latin America. Allow me to remind you this. That's right. I want to make sure that you don't fall prey to them just like I did. I'm going to go over more details at the end of this video, what I'm still going through with Expedia. And remember, that's right. First up, let's jump into the story. U.S. drops $10 million bounty to smash Hezbollah networks. On May 19, 2025, the U.S. Department of State announced a $10 million reward to disrupt Hezbollah's financial networks operating in the Triple Frontier region of Argentina, Brazil, and Paraguay. The initiative targets illicit activities such as money laundering, drug trafficking, and smuggling, which fund the terrorist group's operations. The U.S. is offering secure channels like Signal and Telegram for confidential tips to help dismantle these networks and curb Hezbollah's influence in Latin America. U.S. firms blast Trump's funding cut over Petro-China deal. On May 18, 2025, U.S. companies issued a stark warning following President Trump's decision to halt funding for projects tied to Colombia's business dealings with China under President Gustavo Petro. The move aims to counter Chinese influence in Latin America, but has raised alarms amongst American firms about potential economic fallout. Businesses fear strained trade relations, reduced market access, and lost opportunities in Colombia's growing economy, prompting calls for a reevaluation. U.S. warns of terror threats in top European spots. On May 17, 2025, the U.S. Department of State issued a travel alert for two popular European tourist destinations. On May 19, 2025, the U.S. State Department issued travel alerts for two popular European tourist destinations, citing heightened risk of terrorism. The advisory urges American travelers to exercise increased caution due to credible threats through specific locations, and details remain undisclosed. The alerts aim to ensure the safety of U.S. citizens abroad, with recommendations to stay vigilant and follow local authorities' guidance while traveling in Europe. Make sure you get your smile right. Make sure you see my dentist, Dr. Carlos Maury. Good location, right on 43rd, good price, and of course, the best service you're going to get. U.S. holds strong as Valle's top trade ally. On May 19, 2025, experts confirmed that the U.S. remains the primary commercial partner for Guyana-Colombia, 13 years after the U.S. Free Trade Agreement was signed. The partnership has driven significant economic growth, but local entrepreneurs now face new challenges, including regulatory hurdles, rising competition, and evolving market demands. Businesses are urged to adopt innovative strategies to sustain and strengthen trade ties with the U.S. Trump rages at Supreme Court's deportation block. On May 17, 2025, President Donald Trump sharply criticized the U.S. Supreme Court's decision to block his administration's plans for mass deportations, warning that the ruling could cause significant harm to the nation. The decision has halted large-scale immigration enforcement efforts, igniting heated debates over legal, economic, and humanitarian implications. Trump vowed to explore alternative measures to advance his immigration agenda despite the setback. Eli Mejia Mendoza, alias Martin Sombra, the notorious jailer of the FARC, passed away on May 19, 2025 in Bogota's hospital El Tunal. Known for overseeing high-profile kidnappings, including those of Ingrid Betancourt and Alan Jara, Sombra was a key figure in the guerrilla group's operation during Colombia's armed conflict. He faced charges of deletion and crimes committed after the 2016 peace agreement. At the time of his death, he was cooperating with the Special Jurisdiction for Peace, the JEP, to provide details on past atrocities. In music news, Green Day storms Bogota Saviors Tour. Punk rock legends Green Day are set to electrify Bogota on May 19, 2025 with their Saviors Tour, marking their first performance in the city in 8 years. The band will perform high-energy shows featuring classic hits and new tracks, delighting Colombian fans. The concert, held at the yet-to-be-announced venue, is a major highlight for Bogota's music scene, with anticipation building for the unforgettable night of punk rock energy. I like Green Day. In this little video that I ran during here, they play some of their songs. I forgot what songs they had, and they got a lot of hits. Okay, remember this. That's right. Guyana slams Venezuela's border attacks on troops. On May 17, 2025, Guyana strongly condemned 3 armed attacks on its military personnel along the border with Venezuela, attributing the incidents to Venezuelan forces. The assaults have heightened tensions in the disputed area, raising concerns about regional stability. Guyana has called for international support to address the ongoing conflict and protect its troops, urging diplomatic efforts to de-escalate the situation and ensure safety. Lastly, suspects in journalist Maria Victoria Correa's deletion has been nabbed. Colombian authorities announced the capture of suspects linked to the deletion of journalist Maria Victoria Correa in Antioquia on an unspecified date in 2025. To capture the 3 alleged deleters, the journalist Maria Victoria Correa Ramirez and her sister Maria Noriela, on March 28th at a bakery in Envigado, authorities had to review more than 298 hours of security camera footage. They reviewed the routes from the time they arrived in Medellin from Cali and several days after their escape following the deletion. This was stated by the commander of the Metropolitan Police, General William Castaño Ramos, who stated that 298 hours of video were analyzed along with 10 telephone lines, which we also had access to for the respective analysis, and selective searches in databases. Likewise, geolocation through the use of antenna also allowed us to determine where in the city these individuals were. These investigations led to the arrest of Juan Camilo Carvajal Bornano, alias Hafas, Deibi Julian Pozo Pretzel, and Cali, alias Gafas Deibi Julian Pozo Pretzel, alias Cali, and Juan Daniel Arenas Gomez, alias El Mayo, in proceedings carried out in the capital of the Valle de Cauca and in the municipality of Prada, Tolima, located just 112 kilometers from Ibagué. This story reminds me to remind you, they will find you. Remember that. They will find you. Can you imagine putting in that many hours, 290-something hours of watching, rolling back footage? They will find you. There are cameras everywhere. So if you think you can't be found, you think there's facial recognition not in this city, it is everywhere. So best to believe it's in the park. And that's where a lot of you guys go. Just saying. Just remember that. So if you do have to call 123 for whatever reason, tell them call immediately. Let them know right where you were. They can track back really quickly and they can follow them. It may be an hour later and they're still following until the police can actually catch up with them. I'm telling you, I've seen video after video. They will catch it. Now, let me end on this by addressing what I'm having to deal with through Expedia. If you recall, my worst trip ever was to Canada about 3 weeks ago now. It was, man, I've been distraught for a long time. It took me a week to get well. Physically, I was broken down because emotionally, I was a wreck. After that, everything just went wrong. And if you don't recall, I booked through Expedia. I booked the combination where you do the air and the hotel together. And it saved like, I don't know, a couple $100. There was something in this small print for the hotel that I was staying at that said that you have to pay $250. You have to wire $250 to them before you can get in the building. Now, obviously, who the hell's going to wire $200? They say, you can Venmo. What am I? Venmo? I'm here on business. Why'd you ask me for my credit card last night? Why'd you have me send you a couple of pictures of my credit card if you're not going to use that for the deposit? I'm telling you these stories so you don't have to run into the same issue. I never want any of you guys to have to go through what I had to go through in that airport or in that country or dealing with Expedia on the phone. I'm also going through the Better Business Bureau, and it doesn't look like they're going to be of much help either because Expedia always falls back on, it's in the print, we put it in the writing. I'm here to tell you, they do not have your best interest at hand, okay? They're going to look out for their vendor, who is the hotel. Now, I want to ask anybody who works at Expedia or anybody who works for the Better Business Bureau or anybody who works in that hotel, who the hell else flies for a living and ever had a hotel demand $550 cash the day before? Why the hell would I even think that's there? And even if I would have saw it, like I told them, even if I had seen that right there, I would have expected that the reason you asked me for my credit card was for the deposit. Just like when I go to any hotel, I get my card for the deposit. I don't care how much it is. It's coming back on the card. It's my work credit card. But I am not happy about them charging my business this amount of money. And it was like $400 and something. So either way, I got screwed by Expedia. So you want to know why? That's right. Expedia sucks. Hashtag Expedia sucks. If you have any stories of how Expedia screwed you over, please let me know. Contact me at dcbornrobgroup@gmail.com, dcbornrobgroup@gmail.com. This, I don't even know if you can tell, but this has got me hyped up all over again. I never want to go through that again. I got to travel in a few weeks. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to just flying. I'm not looking forward to flying anywhere on the East Coast, which is where I got to go. Man, it's rough, but I don't want any of you guys to have to go through what I went through. So I'm bringing this story up and I'm going to remind you that Expedia sucks. Book direct. Expedia employees will tell you. And I hope to have an interview soon. Don't worry. You're still on the list. Don't worry. I still keep saying I'm going to do it tomorrow because always something, you have no idea what I got to do. You have no idea what I have on my plate. So I'm behind in a lot of ways. But I want to bring on a former employee and a viewer that work for Expedia and a couple other organizations like that will tell you how to maneuver the system and how they don't stand behind their end users. At least that's my belief from our general conversation. Again, if you have any instances where they screwed you over, remember, dcbornrobgroup@gmail.com, dcbornrobgroup@gmail.com. Get this gripe off your chest. I don't want any of you guys to have to go through what I'm still going through. Anyway, you're up to date with the latest news out of Medellin, Colombia as a whole, Latin America, U.S., whatever relations, who knows? You are up to date with the latest breaking news. Remember to travel, but travel safe.
So I hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure you go down and hit subscribe. And definitely like. It helps that YouTube algorithm. You know what I'm talking about? See what I'm saying?
So, hey, girl, thanks for coming by my place.
No worries. You mind if our girlfriend can come by with us?
Hell no. This is why I watch DC Rob.
Excited, dili na mag-online. Dun sabay dugayan, chika babes kay nasulan. Idol ipadulan, ako ang padulan. Karamel-lumluman, dili-dili natuluman. Hoy, shock pa, makalok-kaloka. Sibo na sexy, lawas murag Coca-Cola. Ang kaanyag ni mo sa akong kalibutan nga saag. Wala ko ikatubag, ikaw ra kong matawag. Murag kagabun sa kabugnaw sa taas. Sa imong paghawas, lawas ni mo labas. Sinut walay gas-gas, ako amo basbas.
Headed to Medellin, Colombia? See my guy Andres with Nomad Travel for safe airport pickups and drop-offs and tours. Contact information in the description below.